There's one, it's called the Victory Medal, and every soldier, sailor, marine, everything got that, which says I was in the in the Second World War.
Okay.
That's that one.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of nice to have.
Sure.
And the next one is called the CVSM, the Canadian Volunteer Service Medal. And you see there's a little clasp on it. And that means so remember, that's volunteer service. I was telling Eric that there was no conscription during the war. And we were all volunteers, and I was a volunteer, and I went overseas. And that bar says I was overseas for 3 months. So that's the CVSM. That one is the Defense of Britain medal. And I think there's some red in there, and it has to do with the air raids in London and so on. And so I was in London. I was in England for well, really the equivalent of a year and a half. Really just killing time. But however, I was there, so I got that. Now we're getting into the important ones, and that's, you notice I have a star there, and that's the France-Germany star. And so I was in France, Belgium, Holland, and Germany, and in action there. So that's what this is. Next, this tells you when. This is the 3945 star, and that's what that is. And so when you see a person with medals, you can find out where he was, and what war he was in, and when. And finally, the Military Cross, which I got from King George VI, which was presumably for bravery. And the action was, by the way, specific action is that I was in a squadron of tanks. We would have about 20 tanks. So I was the lead tank of my squadron, and we all went in just one after the other up over the high ground over the Rhine River. This was in the spring of '45. And so I was the battle captain. We all got there, and then overnight, then we stayed there and got sort of gathered together, and then in the morning we all crossed the Rhine, and that's what I got the Military Cross for.
You said presumably for bravery. Why did you say presumably?
Well, I was being modest. It was I was just doing my job, and so I did in that action. A couple of things happened that perhaps might have been called brave, but mostly I was just doing my job. On the way in, my tank was struck, and so I jumped out of it and took the next tank, and said, "Get out of there! I'm going to lead through. I'm leading this attack." And so we went on and got through. So that was the story.
Okay.